Hideaway is a 1992 supernatural horror novel written by Dean Koontz. It centers on a man named Hatchford Harrison who, after getting in a car wreck, is declared dead for almost an hour. But thankfully, due to the experimental science of one of the doctors that he is in the hospital with, he's able to be brought back to life. But keep in mind, he was declared dead for over an hour, so because of this, he ends up developing a very unique connection to a very sadistic man. So because of this, he decides to use this power to try to find out who it is. But this soon proves to be dangerous, because not only is the killer aware that he has this power, but he soon finds out who his wife is, who he is, and who his family is, and decides to go after him. And not only does Hatch have to worry about the killer getting closer and closer, and therefore putting him and his family in complete danger, but he also has to confront darkness inside of him, a darkness that seemed to come from a very traumatic childhood. Now, I am not gonna lie, this book was kind of slow to start. Don't get me wrong, it put you in the action right away by, having the accident happen right at the beginning, but then it just got kind of tedious because the first 100 pages are literally just him just laying in a hospital bed, pronounced dead and whatnot, and just the doctors trying to bring him back. This because of this, it kind of made it hard to get into, but once he was revived, that's when the story took off. I think one of the best things this book has going for it is the characters, as well as the pacing, despite how, wonky it was during the first 100 pages, because these are characters that you can genuinely sympathize with. Especially since they've had a seemingly overwhelming amount of bad luck, so you just want to see things go right for them. But despite this, they decide that, because they survived something so horrifying as a car crash, they decide to why don't we, since we were given another chance of life, adopt a child, since, we don't know what's going to happen in the near future. Anything could happen to us, just like how it happened today. So, motivated by their near-death experience, they decide to go to a foster home and pick up a sweet young little handicapped girl named Regina. So this ultimately creates a family dynamic between Regina, Hatchford, and his wife Lindsay. Koontz also did a good job of layering these characters so that not only did they feel authentic, but because of this you could also sympathize with them in some way. And I think especially one of the saddest scenes was, I don't want to say much, but at one point, someone really close to them, someone who is extremely young, literally kid young, single digit age young, ended up dying of cancer, and he ended up dying in Hatch's arms as he slowly passed away, while Hatch, whispered to him that everything was going to be okay, just to make them both feel a little better about the whole situation. And that was honestly really heartbreaking to read. I actually legit cried when I read that. That's probably one of the most depressing sections I've ever read in a novel. The pacing was also really great, especially when the killer eventually found out that Hatchford could see what he was doing through visions and whatnot, and decided to go after his family. The scenes where it's showing that he's slowly getting closer and closer to their house, slowly getting closer to finding out where they are, only added more and more to the tension, that it became the like suspense almost became unbearable, but yet you couldn't stop like turning the pages. Overall, this is actually a pretty good novel. Like I honestly think this is one of Koontz's best. My only complaints are, as I said, the like first 100 pages and the ending. I'm not gonna say much about the ending, but it's just way too brief, and I felt like it should have been much longer. Like it felt more like a "Where Are They Now" segment at the end of a movie. Other than that, this is a very great read with some of the most authentic characters I've read in a Koontz novel since Watchers. Not much else to say, but it's pretty damn good. I give Hideaway an A+. Thank you for watching, and don't forget to like and sub for more content.